What's good with you people? Been shooting live today again. Another survival Saturday. Getting everybody ready to start this time off. Hmm. Can you hear me, Becky Hoffman? 2A Drayway. How's it going? Can everybody hear me out there? Oh, wow. TK, Self-Sufficient Dreams. How's everything? Well, today I was coming out of Walmart. Well, actually, I was going into Walmart, and Purple 101, how you doing, Donna? Um, and I walked by the magazine rack, and I noticed something off the grid. Bug out bag. What's in your survival pack? It's a pretty good magazine. I try to grab one every month, but they have good information in it. So I'm gonna post. Anybody feel comfortable to come on in? Start this discussion. Is everybody out there balanced and ready? Stay balanced, stay ready. Hey, what's going on, Jay the Shooter? But today's topic, I want to know is just staying balanced, making sure you're mentally and physically prepared for anything that comes through that's you're going through. And how you doing there, BP?
What's up, fam? What's up? What's up?
Not much, man. Just trying to get everybody to stay balanced and stay ready.
Got to do it, man. In these times, not time for panicking. Just get ready, stay ready, have that balance. Like you said, that's key in life, man.
Yeah.
So,
Name Slick back, House of Siege, Coy. How's everybody doing out there?
What's up, everybody? Everybody had a good week, I hope. Everybody's doing
well. I
well.
was telling everybody I picked up this magazine here off the grid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where was that for? Was that in the bookstore or where is that?
Yeah, that was in Walmart over there on the magazine section.
Okay, this thing is really going mainstream. We got them in Walmart, bug out bags on front page. That's crazy. So what are they trying to tell us? Are they trying to tell us something?
Oh, something that we already know.
I know that's right. So we already know. We already there. Hey, old news.
Yeah, it is, man.
Jay the Shooter, what's up? What's up? What's up? Yep. Everybody, like to see everybody in here. Thank you for coming in. Prepper 101, what's up? Yep, Coy. Yep. So, what else did you do this week? What else was on your? What did you get accomplished this week?
Actually, man, I was working on some remote stuff, man. Cybersecurity, pen testing, and stuff like that. Doing some intrusions, that Kali Linux, and oh man, this world is going to in a handbag right now.
Yeah, I know that's right. I know that project we were working on before. We got to get back on that because we got to get back.
We most definitely have to, because I thought for a minute there was a company out there.
Yeah.
But nah.
Yeah, we got to get back on it. We see what's going over in the Ukraine and some of that technology that's being used that's changing So yeah, we need
changing the scenery. Yeah.
We need to get up. We need to get up in there if not just for having some of those tools in our kit ourselves.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
My son just got his Java certification and Linux certification this week, 11th grade. They have to have 3 certifications a year. He's in the Science and Engineering Academy. I'm a senior admin. Talking to my other team members, I'm like, do you have the certification? Do you have the certification? Do you have the certification? They're like, nope. So
wow. I mean, really, man, when I started this, I got into programming, because all I did was they had me in the IT, And I was just the janitor side of IT. I wasn't working on the technical side. Let me be honest. I was the one that had the little can that was spraying the keyboard, getting the dust bunnies out, taking the towers down, getting the dust bunnies, making sure everything running, dropping off this one, picking up that one. So mainly, I got a feel of things. So once I started learning programming, and I got with C++, C#, then got a little bit of taste of Java, I moved on to Python. And I found out the whole world is based off of Python.
You can do anything and everything. And that's the other one he's getting this year, Python. That's the other one I tell you.
Man, and this Raspberry Pi, I was trying to get everybody on board.
There you go. And you can get them off of Amazon, get pieces and parts off of Amazon cheap for those old pieces. It's like, so
you got your HDMI if you want cable.
Yeah.
You got your phone service if you want the internet.
Yeah. You can do a lot. You can do a lot.
Run an operating system.
Yeah.
So
and how does that tie into survival? People may ask, how does that tie into survival? You can do anything and everything with that.
This thing here can run your whole house.
Thank you.
Whole household electronically. To me, hey,
what's up, Carter?
Give me 1 second. I'll be right there. Okay.
I let everybody know that the laptop that I use that we taught in, cybersecurity, my laptop does not have a driver. It only uses a USB. Because that's the program I use is Kali Linux.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of tools, and it's like a Swiss Army knife when it comes to IT, stuff like that. And stuff that, you want to discuss and can't discuss. Some stuff you want to close.
It maintains operational security, keep that OPSEC.
Yeah.
And that's important for us in our homes and every day, and data security and stuff like that, because data is another thing that helps us in our survival, being able to obtain it, whether it's through a drone, so you can do peripheral, perimeter surveillance and stuff like that. You have advanced notice and stuff like that. All these things are other things that go into our kit, knowing, countermeasures against those type of things, knowing what they can do and what they can't do, how people may be using those technologies against you, and then you can counteract those things. So if we get into a, SHFT or TF situation, we know how to, use some of those technologies and counteract against some of those technologies. So I think that's all. And as much as we can put in our tool bag, as much as we can put in that kit and be good at it, the better we are, because other people are going to be using those things and having access to that. So we got to be flexible and know, be masters of everything,
That's so true. That's so true.
So,
and like I said, I love my gadgets, and later on down the road, we're going to be doing an episode of showing you how to use a clean phone. Because a lot of people need to know that also in survival skill set. You can use a lot of applications without needing Wi-Fi or cellular data.
Yeah, that's why I keep all these. I have, these, they go in my vest. I have all kinds of different things I can use ready to go. I got my bag, the Carbon talked about, my Faraday bag. I could throw those things in there, have them, fairly safe. So those things are important to have and know for a lot of different reasons. So like you said, we need to learn those things. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. How you doing, Carbon? You have a good week?
Yes, it was a busy week, but I had a great week. Hi, everybody.
You're busy? You're busy, really? I wouldn't imagine. Carbon, stay busy. I love it.
Yeah, there's so much going on. There's so much people getting involved in YouTube and starting their channels.
Yes, ma'am.
And just a lot of, it's a community. So somebody might need something here or need help with this. And then it's getting your stuff together. It's also supporting other channels and hopping in there and making sure the algorithms for those people, as well as our own channels are getting out there.
And that's the key. That goes into that cyber tech. I mean, knowing how those algorithms are formed, how they're, tied together, knowing, we are really at the mercy of a lot of those algorithms unless we know how to, counteract against them. It's like countermeasures against those kind of things. They kind of marginalize us, our thoughts and our information. So we have to know that that's an active thing that's going on,
right?
And fight against that. Because a lot of this information, they like to keep it, subdued, keep it ignorant, this and that and the other. So they don't want communities coming together, even though it's for the greater good.
Yep.
They like to control that information. So
absolutely,
realize that and keep working against it. So
Exactly, especially when prepping has been looked at as such a in a negative, connotation.
Exactly.
You're considered hoarders, or conspiracy theorists, or you're just hogging everything, right?
Or we look at Ben Shooten. He just picked a magazine up from Walmart
Right.
on Bug Out Bag. That's crazy.
I'm telling you how coming around, and all those crazy people are now people that people are reaching out to because
Exactly.
so everything happens for a reason. There was a set of people, and prepping's been going on for a long time, but now we need it. And the amazing part of preppers is that you're still welcoming people with open arms, regardless of all of that. They're like, listen, this is what you need. This is what you got to get. Learn this, get that. Then we're branching out and including other units of it, which will be homesteading and which will be 2A. And there's so much, so much more to that. You have your retired military, you have construction workers, medical, where you have your medical personnel that are hopping on teaching people.
Facts.
Come learn this. This is something you need to do. So it's broadening and it's getting out there, and people are really paying attention because you have no choice to pay attention right now. So it's a beautiful thing, down to carpeting. These are all skills that we're going to need. We're talking about bartering, we're talking about revolution, we're talking about rebuilding, we're talking about so many different things, and we all need that information, because when it gets to rebuilding our communities, we're going to need a little bit of everything. Security, all of that's going to come into play. So I don't think there's anybody that won't be an asset somewhere, unless you absolutely don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
that is so true. And we got to look at the big picture also, that we get our hands on tools and making sure we have tools and food, because, the outcome of this, we don't know if it's going to be a purge side effect. We don't know, it's going to be a zombie side effect. We don't know what kind of side effect or outcome is going to be, but we just have to plan for the long term to set up and start realizing, if we got a small community, we're just going to have to start creating open markets at a certain time.
Yeah.
Where are we going to, plant food? Where are we going to get our reservoir, water reservoir from? Where are we going, things like that we have to look ahead. I know right now we have our bug-in bags and all our different types of bags in our survival, but we just have to find a place where we can be stationary at the end of the day.
Right.
And realize also that gear doesn't make you prepped. Just buying stuff. And a lot of times right now we have to be careful. They're looking at the profit margin or profit aspect of it. So that's why a lot of these companies are coming on board. Hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. So people have houses full of stuff and can't use any of it. Don't know how any of it works. Haven't tested any of it to see whether or not it susses out as far as whether it's functional, non-functional. So we have to be, stewards of the community and be out there trying stuff, doing stuff, talking to each other. Hey, has this worked for you? Fact-based, evidence-based type of information, and saying, okay, this is true, this is tested. This is what we found works, and then keep pushing that. So we have to, again, control the narrative and control all that. I was talking to Carbon and talking to you guys earlier how my coworker, he's a senior admin as well, but grew up in a 500 person town in the middle of mountains of Mexico, in the Sinaloa area in Mexico. His grandfather was a blacksmith. So every day he took him out and showed him how to do all this stuff, actually get out there, bam, 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 making tools, this, that, and the other. And he came here when he was 17, couldn't even speak English, went to school, got his degrees, yada, yada, yada. Now both of his girls are at a prestigious university, full scholarship. So it's a success story, but showing that we still have to have some of those tools. So he's still doing that stuff. He can make a machete out of, raw metal within an hour and a half. Could just boom, 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 get out there, boom, boom, wrap it with leather. So he's going to show me how to do that, but he doesn't have any firearms expertise. So I was like, hey, I'll work with you, firearms, how to do safety, yada, yada, yada. You teach me how to make, tools, and say, oh, hey, no problem. So, that's kind of things and skill sets, because, those kind of things are valuable. Work with people in and around you to do those kind of things, because those are going to be valuable, So I'm going to show y'all my machete when I make it. Hopefully it's not too lopsided or anything like that, but.
It's handmade, handcrafted. That's the best, man.
There you go. Yeah, he can just crank those things out like nothing. It's like so easy to make, but how many of us, have ever tried to do any of that kind of stuff? So.
Exactly, and that's a skill that's going to be needed.
Exactly.
But if your gun is no more good, your secondary now becomes your primary.
Thank you.
Which is your machete, right? And that you can use in the field, that you can use in so many different areas.
So many different ways. So
yeah. And one thing that we pass, and I tell a lot of people, learn to find ways to stash and store black powder.
That's one thing I haven't done.
And a lot of people got to focus on that, because you can't make ammo without black powder.
Yeah.
And you can use that to clear lands, make things, it's a lot for those fuses and little things that, you can use black powder for. Not the major stuff. We're not talking dynamite.
Not high explosive, not HE. Yeah.
It's just like, okay, a little cherry bomb in that wasp, that wasp nest, that spider web,
What's up, Parasite?
Yeah. Lady Smith.
That's something I'm going to look into, because I didn't even know that about the black powder.
Knowing how to store and use that is I haven't done any of that stuff for forever. I used to make my own ammo, have my machine, and sold it back in the day when my friend moved. But I need to get back into that. But now it's so cost prohibitive now that maintain that stuff, then the barrier to entry is a lot lower. So
I think at the end of the day, we just have to look and see what area we can find and what area we can relocate, and just establish a community from that way. Because we are so scattered out, we just sit down one day and just come up with ideas and say, okay, we meet here, have markers, have dates, and just start progressing, towards a meetup. You know what I'm saying? A survival meetup or something like that.
I thought Gershon and Juice were going to do one.
Well, that's a camping version of a meetup. You know what I'm saying? We want to have things where, like we're working on right now as we speak, radio, first aid, things like that in our nature, that when everybody comes out, they feel more like a market type,
Yeah. In the chat, how's everybody done this week? What kind of things are you guys working on? Are you working on your medical? Are you working on your, empty-handed, self-defense techniques? Are you getting on that exercise treadmill? I saw somebody started picking up their, physical activity, saying, that's important, to have physically just being able to get out there and walk, and handle some of those things. So kind of share some of the stuff that you guys are working on. Because, maybe it's something.
I'm working on my physical, just walking. So, Angry Prepper has a Angry Fitness channel now. Starting out with basic walking your area. I just do on my EDC, and I had a weighted vest, so it rounded out to 15 pounds. And just getting acclimated to that. I think 6 miles. I think the next day I did, I added 5 pounds, and I would like to die. I was really fatigued from the day before.
But what does that teach you, Carbon? What does that teach you? I mean,
it taught me that I need to take it slow. This is what I'm starting with, work with that, and then gradually increase the weight. But it also taught me that my bug out bag, I will have to really slim that down. Right. So to me, it's either slim it down or strengthen my body enough to carry the weight of that backpack.
And that's the thing. People talk about that all the time. Ounces on the back or pounds on the leg. And 5 pounds doesn't sound like a lot. But when you got to carry that mug, you'd be cursing every ounce. It's like you're cursing yourself out.
Yeah.
Henry, good for you. He just completed the Stop the Bleed training today. Awesome.
There you go. Who's doing the plank challenge? I'm following some.
That is Bougie Prepper. Stardust 2. The two of them are going.
I've been doing that too because I get those planks on. So there's so many ways, and so good to see people are taking this stuff seriously and putting it out there. So I love it.
Hey, and you know what? Yesterday I was checking out what was that thing called? Crossbow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was looking at one of those and I was checking those out.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I had a car when they Well, it was about a year ago. Everybody went out and said get a crossbow, and I got it. Actually, got it from Amazon. Then I like looked at it, and I sent it back. I'm like, I'm not going to spend time doing that, but I would love to do. Who does the bow all the time? Is it Melanated?
Priestess, Lady High Priestess, and what is it? Who Dat Babe?
Yeah, I want to get into that. I really need to, because that's another skill set that you may not have. You run out of ammo or this, that, and the other. Or you want to be more stealth. Arrows are going to be a lot stealthier than even a 22 with the silencer. So,
somebody just said the slingshot is good too as well.
Slingshot. Oh, I used to always have those homemade rocket little slingshots with the surgical tubing, with the little metal balls, the ball bearings. So yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
You always have rocks. Rocks are everywhere.
Hi, Skilly.
Oh, looking like a whole.
We want easy.
Nice cube up in the house.
What's going on, bro?
Carbon, BP.
Hi. What's up?
Good, man.
Caesar's fasting right now. Hot Tub is walking 2 miles a day with his loadout.
There you go.
Yeah. And this is what I mean. There's a lot of people that's taking it seriously and really getting active. And
it's encouraging to me. It's like it keeps me motivated. I'm seeing other people. I'm like, I need to go do my part. Make sure I'm doing. So I love it, man. I love seeing people getting out there and doing it.
And that's something that one-on-one put down. Prepper one-on-one. 30 pounds in the pack is a lot of weight and not much gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. You could put 30 pounds. You look like when I put my vest on.
Yeah.
So right now I got it down to 20. That's just for the vest itself, not body armor. That's just for the chest rig. So I have it down to 20. Plus I'm gonna have a backpack on that has stuff, and then if I have to wear ammo or armor. So it's not much weight at all. You'd be surprised. And water weighs exactly. And you got to carry your water. Right now I don't have a 2-liter Camel that I use, but even that, that adds a substantial amount of weight. So you have to carry it with you. You got to have water. So.
Yeah,
I've seen those in Real Deal. They have this that comes with the they're short, like little arrows, but you can use them for fishing with the slingshot.
Oh yeah, somebody do. It's called spearfishing, don't they? You hook it up to your compound bow. You can spearfish like that.
Yeah, and they got the ones you go underwater too. You pull. Got the
slingshot.
The hoses,
my friend Jesus, that's how he does. They go out and they have a little town. They have 3 rivers on the side, and he shows me pictures of them just going out there and boom with the fish, and just having those skill sets or get you fed.
Yeah, I got them both. I got a compound and I got a crossbow. I want to learn how to use my compound though. That's what I need to learn how to use.
All right.
Yeah, that's balanced there. I had one and I just couldn't get the leveler. It's a leveler on it.
Yeah.
Man, that was hard. Balance that out and see that little air bubble and
yeah.
So at any of your ranges, do they have like classes for that? Do you have people you can talk to on that? How do you guys plan on? Because that was my thing too. I don't know a lot about that. So what resources?
Well, Top Gun, when me and Roadblock met up, they do Top Gun does I think on Fridays or Saturdays, one of the two, they do open up one of their lanes for bow shoot. So I want to get up there and learn how to bow shoot. And hopefully they got an instructor that I want to learn how to bow shoot with. Compound shoot.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's good? What's good?
Good, Billy.
Hey, man.
Hey.
How you feel?
Good.
How are
you? Good.
You looking as young as ever.
I'm gonna
say that generally so nobody gets offended.
He said, "I look old." You said, "I look."
Yeah, man. Well,
hey, you know what? Man. Yo, I always come with some oddball stuff to say.
Let's go.
If you can, and this is just as real as it can be.
Yeah.
Learn, if you can't tangible, but at least can look it up, learn how to breed one edible animal. If it's chicken, if it's pig, if it's goat, whatever you can utilize, learn how to breed something. Learn how to birth that animal. Learn how to care for the infant of that animal. When things get a little crazy, I know earlier I had said about the semen being a bartering tool. Maybe I didn't come across fully. A lot of times farmers will utilize bucks and just males to impregnate the female so they can produce more edible stock in a sense. So man, if you guys have the opportunity, learn how to breed just one thing, chicken, whatever you can survive on, that you're not going to need somebody else to intervene, or if you do, you'll have somebody down the road that has some males or females or whatever opposite of you. Definitely.
Yeah, well, you know
It
what?
was the truth, Corey. It was the truth.
So what is he saying? I think also that we need to take a trip to a farm. That's what he's saying. Going back to the days that we,
Yeah.
Get what we lost. Pick it back up.
Yo, they used to teach. They're like, that was a school trip.
Yeah.
My son has never been to a school trip on a farm. Like they used to take us to learn how to do these things.
Yeah. Every summer, my dad sent us to Turl, Texas, or mom and dad, Turl, Texas, where my mom is from. We had to work the farm, go out and feed the chickens and the pigs, slop the hogs, all that other stuff. I remember that to this day. And a lot of those skill sets, like you said, we've lost a lot of that. So we need to go back and reclaim, because those are valuable. We can't put a price on that. So when you say breeding animals, that's just like boom, wow. Yeah.
The only thing I used to hate was getting those hound dogs, those big old worm peels, man. You had to open it.
Oh, I still got to do that.
Those things down there,
You got that one that always want to bite
doesn't
you.
want to, exactly. Yeah,
And you know what the crazy thing is? Mine somehow find it in their food. I try to give it to them in some meat or something like that, and they always find it and spit it right out. I'm like, yo, how did you know? But yo, I'm telling y'all, man, figure something out. Even simple things like knowing when to udder, like how to milk something, and knowing what the udders look like when they're ready to produce.
Can you milk cats?
Yeah.
Huh?
Can you milk cats?
You can milk anything with teats.
First of all,
I'm sorry.
I'm not doing that with y'all.
It went from 6 hours to 6 Saturday.
Oh,
man.
Don't start that today.
Okay.
Y'all are great.
Skilly in here looking like the 6th member of NWA. Go ahead.
You look like an old easy. I'm like, what?
Forget y'all.
The police.
Yo, did you? Sorry to make this personal. I'm gonna just get off real quick. Did you check your messages yet?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did the correction.
All right. Cool.
I did the correction.
And the picture too.
Well, yeah, the picture should have came up with what's the name on it? I redid
All right,
that.
Cool. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. I love y'all, man. I'm gonna jump back in the set.
Same here.
Love you, man.
Peace. All right.
He brings up a good point. I didn't even think that wasn't even on my mind. Okay, I don't even have no idea where to start with. Sustainable food source. How do you,
Looking at my guest tomorrow. Real deal. What's going on?
There you go. Real deal. Oh, here's some connection.
Oh, real deal.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
What up?
Playing is
He probably don't have to
I can
switch
hear
to 5.
Stereo.
Okay.
Let me jump on that.
absolutely hot said Tony.
They buying human breast milk. Wow.
Because there's mothers that can't produce the milk, and then there's
okay.
that produce a lot of it, so they're actually and then you have the whole other side to it, but I'm not even going to get into that. But at the end of the day, some mothers that produce a lot of milk, they produce it for other mothers, for the babies, because it's healthier for the babies.
Healthier, yeah. They
That
said
becomes a commodity then at that point. Or are you also benefiting somebody else? Yeah.
It's
Think about that.
that's like a
Goat is good. Goat is delicious. I love goat.
I
real.
want y'all to go out and try
Goat's
oatmeal.
delicious. Goat's outstanding. When I went to Jamaica,
Oatmeal.
yeah.
and Carmen does have a point, because when my wife was pregnant, she couldn't produce
Mm-hmm.
for my children, so we had to put them on formula. and it is a valuable resource for
Especially if formula is going to be hard to find. I think somebody mentioned in the other live that there was a shortage on baby formula.
Oh yeah, they had a recall.
Yeah, moms that could produce that's a great bartering. I know everything goes back to perfect, but you got to look at all your assets.
It's true. That's an asset.
true.
That's a commodity that you can stack it all up and freeze that, and then plan for the future.
The end of the year, you can freeze it, and it'll go a long way.
Yeah,
you can't freeze formula.
Yeah,
you got once you fix it, it's done. I think
a lot of those formulas that aren't pre-mixed, then you have to have another valuable resource, water, to be able to reconstitute a lot of that. And that's like, okay, that's another thing that you have to plan for. A huge amount of water just for that formula.
Give him a hug for me.
What?
Give him a scratch.
There we go.
We have discussions about alternative ways to replace formula. Yes, Lady Smith. I think, yeah, they really did have a good conversation about that, and that's going to be a big thing because life is still going to continue.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, and you're going to need doulas. A lot of doulas out there that can deliver babies, and doctors and nurses and a lot of medical stuff, because now people are probably going to have babies in their home.
People don't think about that at all. I had to deliver my daughter in the hospital because the doctor wasn't there. So luckily I had that training. So from beginning to end was, all in my hands. So that's going to be a skill set. Survivability of not only the baby, but the mother are in your hands. So get those skill sets, get some of those things. It's not hard to do. It's just practice and dedication to doing it. Like she said, a doula working here locally, she's into that. So those issues, especially around women's health, a lot of times those are underserved and not thought about. We think about the guns and all the macho, all this, but you can't, assure future generations coming to this world healthy. What are we preparing for? What are we surviving for? So,
yeah,
that's important. Yeah, I would love to see a discussion on that with the sisters to talk about some of that.
Start going back to reading.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun to imagine that they are.
Because this is a good point here.
Peter may have entertained a brief wrestling career in the comic books, but that's not the only sport.
Yes, look at that.
Yeah, that's so true, because I tell a lot of people, sometimes people contact me saying about books, but I've had a paperback on one book, and I looked up on the Kindle, the electronic book, and certain pages are missing.
Well, that's another thing too, the translations or the iterations, depending on the editions, you have to find which one is true to the original format, because different editions will add and take out different things. So yeah, we have to, be careful when we do a lot of that. But having both, I like to have both the electronic and the physical copy. And then those key pages, make copies of those, laminate those, especially for stuff like, they can be encapsulated in one page, or diagrams or forms, that nature. Those things can be quickly, copied and boom, 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 handed out to people. So a lot of that's planning in advance. Once it hits the fan, it's hard to, go get all that stuff started. So now's the time to start doing that stuff. Now's the time to start getting your, electronic devices stacked up with maps and electronic entertainment for the kids and information. Now you have to sit down and do that. And it's time consuming. It's a pain in the butt. But once stuff happens, it's, you'll thank yourself. You'll be happy that you're in that situation, and you're going to be able to help other people too,
And the school system, the way we grew up, we really realized that was all based on a platform to educate everybody to a community sense, because when everybody grows up from K through 12, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be working in the same environment, the same area, the same location, moving on to different places. So we have to start that. Like I said, if something hit the fan, I'll go back, revert back to the old ways and start from scratch. And that's something that we could think about doing. And I was thinking about that, a survival meetup. We have vegetables, first aid, just, or we just go to a farm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. We have a lot of people who are into gardening and stuff like that. And a lot of us don't have a lot of practical hands-on experience with that, maybe during harvest time or whatever time is most useful to them, where they can incorporate, a group of people to come down and assist and educate, give them a little information. Hey, meet us here at this time of year or whatever that time of year. We're looking for 20 people to come down and, assist us with that. We'll also, offload some of this information to you.
Mhm.
Easy. That's why I say it looks like an easy E. I was like,
Like Tropical Homestead, they're having it's not a meetup, they call it something else, but it teaches you how to everything to do with homesteading, gardening, and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that takes care of one area. Then you said Gershon and Juice are going to have their camping survival thing, so that takes care of another side of thing. There's so many other communities that are doing the same thing too. So I think the more that we get inside
and share that information. Yeah.
share it, it'll start circulating around. But we won't know these things if we don't get involved with other people.
Which come to shove, do we need to take a trip to the Amish towns and see what's going on? Or?
We used to take that trip at school all the time. We made little cornbread in the brick oven thing.
Oh, really? Wow.
They let us make the she showed us how to do it from scratch and then put it in the brick oven thing that they had there, and we ate what we made when we were done.
Yeah, Black Tropical Homestead has a really good channel.
They have an expo coming up. It's a what is it? Homesteading Expo, but they also do gardening and all that type of stuff.
Is that like once a year or several times a year? Do you know?
I think this is their first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think it is their first one.
Where are they out of? Where are they? Are they back east or?
I'm not sure. I think they're in Atlanta. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll double check and find out. I think they're in Atlanta. Yeah.
Need to get down there. Yeah, cloth diapers. I remember those. Yeah.
Good one. My cloth diapers.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah. I'm old, so yeah, I remember all that stuff.
But anything is good because it gives people opportunities to get. Maybe they can't get to that one. They can get to this one.
Yeah, especially if you have people in different areas of the country, because in SoCal there's not a lot of Amish people, but if there are other groups that are maybe doing some of those same things.
Real deal, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you see me?
No, we can't see you.
We
I
can't
don't know
see.
why. I don't know why you can't see me. I'm sorry.
Are your eyes open?
Yeah.
All eyes open.
Well, man, welcome back.
Oh, I got a new tablet, so this thing's crazy.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Let me hit the camera thing real quick and see if anything happens.
Okay.
There you go.
There's your icon. Yeah.
There you go, your icon up there.
Well, I was trying to get in when Billy was talking about learning how to raise a farm animal and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I live. I got a little 4-acre farm, and where I live it's zone agriculture, so I can do whatever I want because I'm zoned right.
There you go.
You know, I have chickens for eggs, and then I raise chickens for meat. I have dairy goats. That's where I get my milk from.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't realize how awesome goat milk is. You know, if a baby is allergic to milk and formula, it can drink goat's milk. Goat's milk is the only food that your body does not have to digest for it to work.
Oh.
Good to know.
Good to know.
I always tell people, you know, like in the Bible, when they talk about the land of milk and honey, they're not talking about cow. They're talking about goat.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what about the almond milk and all that?
That I don't know. I never looked into it or messed with it.
Okay.
The one bad part about that, production on those is so expensive and hard to get into. You know, you have to have certain types of equipment and stuff to do that. So I don't know about sustainability unless you have like access to large amounts of raw materials to kind of produce that kind of thing. So it's good, not bad for you. You know, is regular milk, but just the production of that in a time where it may not be readily available.
What is that right there?
Oh, that's
Inches.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
it's like a packet.
Oh, alpaca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alpaca milk?
That's right. Yeah, that's sort of like it's related to that packet.
Llama? Oh, llama, llama, not just llama. Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
we're going back to the cloth diapers and also recycling, your materials. You don't want to put this into the earth. You want to reduce your carbon footprint. So we talk about reducing, the carbon footprint, and a lot of people don't believe in that, but putting this stuff, raw materials, back into the dirt to contaminate stuff is not good. So reusing that, cloth diapers reduces the amount of plastic that go into those landfills and stuff like that. So you got to look at the positivity of doing that too. Take those materials and use them up, recycle those, use them. Don't use stuff that, it degrades into toxins and this, that, and the other. Reuse everything that you can, because again, we're being good stewards, of the environment and our communities as well, and getting our money's worth of it, so I always try to think about anything we use. When you have natural animals, you have goats and stuff like that.
Oh,
helping that kind of stuff.
that's a breed of goat.
Yeah.
I know what goat that is now. They don't have any ears. I know what goat that is.
No ears?
Well, they have ear holes, but they don't have the ears. Like animals have ears. It's gone.
Ah, okay.
And it's just like the holes on the side of their head for ears.
So where would you even get a deer?
A goat?
No, I mean a goat. Yeah. Where would you? They have like.
You go to Craigslist.
Wow.
Oh, what's her name that said something? She said she brought out that brochure. What was that? Groves?
It was Nicole Groves, yeah.
Brought a brochure with animals in it. I don't remember what.
I know they had that one site for chickens, which I need to get some of those when I'm looking at getting some land.
Go hunting on eBay.
Mhm.
Wow.
And then the goats I have are dairy goats, and they're also meat goats, so they're dual purpose.
Oh, okay.
I got African Nubian goats,
Uh-huh.
and their Nubians are very high in the fat, so they make delicious butter and all that kind of stuff. And then I have French Alpine goats.
So how did you learn all that? Just by practical application growing up, or how did you learn all that?
YouTube. Me and the wife got the opportunity to be able to get some land out here in the country.
Mhm.
We lived downtown in the hood where I had a drug dealer and prostitutes hanging on the corner. Neighbor get drunk, beat his wife up every night.
Mhm.
We got the opportunity to get out of there. We moved out here. I started watching YouTube's videos. I started reading stuff online on how to do dairy goats and stuff, and we just bought them and learned.
Wow.
I mean, the first time I tried to milk a goat was probably the most funniest thing in the world. It took me about an hour to get an ounce of milk out of it. But now I go out there 5 minutes later, I got a gallon of milk.
You weren't out there like.
Do you store that?
That's not the teat. That's not the teat. It's
Yeah.
like you're milking the wrong thing.
Mm.
Exactly. That's the boy goat.
No,
That's
man.
That's a good question. So how do you protect your livestock from predators once you get them? That's another thing to think of, right?
Well, so I do goats, pigs, and then I have chickens. I just started free ranging my chickens because before I tried to free range them, I was having mink and raccoon coming and killing them all.
Mm.
And so I built a chicken coop with a big run that was fenced in, so that the girls nothing can get inside the chicken coop. And then I got a turkey, and I tell you what, this turkey loves these chickens, and I let them free range because they're getting older in life, and I've been letting them free range, and he protects them, and nothing comes around those chickens with Tom the turkey around.
So how did you learn to get the turkey to protect the chicken?
You know what? I was buying goats. We went up to Michigan. I was buying goats, and the guy was breeding turkeys, and he said, "You know what? How about a set of free turkeys?" And I said, "Sure, I'll take them." And that's how I got the turkeys.
Wow.
And then I just, like I said, my girls are getting older in life, so I have a bunch of new chickens, a new flock that I'm raising, and so I decided I was going to let the older ladies just free range and and kind of enjoy retirement, and whatever happened would happen. But turkey is like, I don't think so. These girls are coming home every night.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So the predator, so that's how I had to take care of to save the chickens. But like I raise hogs and stuff, coyote ain't gonna mess with a hog.
No, yeah, that's just true. No.
And I've never had any issue with coyotes trying to mess with my goats either. So I don't know if I just got lucky or the animals just too big for coyotes to mess with. I don't know. And then I got a shotgun right next to my bed in case I hear a noise in the middle of the night and run out there, boom, and shoot an animal if I have to.
It's good, North Florida.
But with coyotes, a good thing about coyotes, because I have coyotes here. You live out of country, you have coyotes, but you may have a pack of coyotes that may not mess with your animals. And so you don't want to kill that pack off, because if you kill that pack off, another pack's going to take its place. Yeah. And they may be more aggressive.
More aggressive,
yeah.
There you go.
Guinea hens.
Guinea hens, yeah.
It's good to know. Somebody say also. Still mother-in-law's good noise makers, huh?
What about your water source? Real deal.
So the house has its own well, and that's electric. Yep. And then when we moved in, there's two things we did right off the bat. We planted a bunch of fruit trees, and then we had a company come in and drill a well. And so they went down 125 feet down, and then they put pressure into the well, and it pushes out the water, and they can time it and tell you how much water is coming out. And so they said I was getting 60 gallons of water a minute. So they hit a main vein, and then I had a hand pump installed, and it's a Bison hand pump, and I don't have to prime it or nothing.
What? You don't have blue jugs sitting on the side priming?
Nope.
Oh, man.
It takes about seven strokes, and I got water coming out.
Oh man, that's a relief. Well, I had to sit out there every morning and sit there.
And then the way it's designed, as soon as you quit pumping, like if I'm doing it in the middle of wintertime, as soon as I quit pumping, it drops that quick. It doesn't have time to freeze.
Oh, wow.
Do you have any passive water capture and storage on your property? Like cisterns or any kind of other water storage?
No.
Well, I was looking at that. I have a couple of friends who they have the wells, then they have some other passive capture methods and storage for like cisterns that they've placed underground to capture some of the water. Of course, it's not raining a whole bunch right now, so but I was looking at some of that.
The only thing I have is when I lived in the city, I bought two of those like 7,500 gallon blue barrels with the spigots on it that you can fill up with water. I have those from when I lived in the city. And then
they said those are good for bacteria not coming into those, ain't they? Almost like a bacteria-proof type barrel.
Yeah, it's a food grade barrel, and it's they're blue, really thick. And then I bought a Burka to filter my water through. I mean, the water is good and clean.
Yeah,
but I still want to filter it, so I got a Burka.
Yeah,
those things take out everything.
Me too.
And they last forever. I mean, one filter is 3,000 gallons.
No. Yes, you're right. Because mine is a double, so that makes it 6. The only thing that the filters are really expensive, but
they long term, huh?
They're long term, unless you're using like if you get water from a creek or something like that, you should pre-filter it before you put it inside there. Yeah. But if you're just using water from the tap and you want to filter out all of that from there and then use it, the taste is different. It's amazing. It was worth what you pay for it to me.
Lead Farmer turned me onto that. So when I ordered that, I was like, man, I've been missing this all along. So yeah, those are outstanding.
I tell you, since we got ours, I drink about 3 times.
Yeah,
It tastes better.
I-
Yeah.
exactly. It does. It makes you want to use it and like use it for everything. If you
Everything.
make Kool-Aid or whatever it is that you
Yeah.
make in your house, you would have used that.
Yeah.
And in San Antonio, they chlorinate the water and put everything else up in there, and it's like,
Yeah, man.
and plus it's high lime. It has a large amount of lime because it's coming from an aquifer, so it has all that
That's lazy. Y'all got jokes.
calcium in it. Yeah.
They do have the get the black charcoal filters. The white ones are the fluoride. I do believe.
Fluoride.
I don't know if you want that. But
strychnine.
Yeah, fluoride.
yeah.
Yep.
Where,
Fluoride.
now, when you getting those filters and stuff like that, you go to your local. Where do you purchase those at?
Online.
Online.
Okay, online.
Berkey filters too, Adrian.
Now, we just got ours. I've had mine for about a month now, and we plan on ordering like 4 or 6 more filters just to have. Okay, so
I got the small one, and it seems like it's expensive, but now I wish I had gotten the bigger one because it just makes.
You got the big Berkey or
I
the
got the small one initially.
travel one?
Yeah,
yeah.
but I wish I got. I probably end up buying the larger one as well.
And y'all got that from Amazon or a local store?
They have a site.
Yeah.
Amazon is one of their
Distributors.
representatives for it. But yeah, it was worth. I was like, man, just for a water filter, that would take me a minute.
That was my thought too.
It took
Oh,
me a
man.
minute to make that purchase, but then after you see it, you're still gonna be like, "Are you crazy?" But when you get it and you taste the water, oh my gosh, you're gonna be like, "Worth it! It is so worth it to me."
Wow. We
Yeah.
had the one.
Worth
Well,
it.
we had the one under the house at the time, but it ran from the copper pipes.
Mhm.
They were like pretty huge with the filtration system.
Gotcha.
So we had the city water when it came through. It went through the filtration system, went up
Mhm.
to another filtration system. But we balanced it out to make sure. You know,
Was that like the reverse osmosis system? Because I used to have one of those, but then those filters always go out and they're so expensive. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Purple one.
And what's good about the Berkeys, if you have to bug out, you take it with you.
and that's what I like.
Down and
Go
it,
with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those reversal systems in your home. It's like once you leave.
Yeah. It's gravity. It works by gravity. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. I would tell you to buy the spout, the spigot, the little spigot. If you can buy an extra one or 2, because it's plastic. I think you can,
Yeah,
get the metal one. You can get the metal one if you want to, but just in case, like long term, especially if you're traveling with it, if it falls or whatever the case may be, at least you have a replacement for it. And the filters, I would get it from a Berkey representative or Berkey because they do have knockoffs, and it's not the same. That setup to get the water flowing through it is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like my entire bathroom is a whole hot mess. But once you get the water to shoot and saturate it so you can start, putting
The filter.
running the water through it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
easy.
you gotta prime it first. Yeah.
yeah.
That priming thing is crazy. I
Yeah.
took like 2 baths.
Yeah.
Water everywhere.
I was drenched wet by the time I primed mine.
It's- Hi everybody, hi teachers, how you doing?
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And make sure y'all get out there and get those hydration ladders for the tub.
Mm.
That's what we talked about a while back, just in case.
Now's a good time too. I stack up propane. A lot of my devices use propane for a lot of different things. I use propane, but now it seems like availability is there and the prices are kind of low. Still a little bit more expensive than before, but because a lot of people use those more in the winter, the prices on those are down. So now's the time to start stocking up on your winter stuff, and then of course when winter comes, you go seasonal.
Yeah, that's the way I.
So start thinking in advance. Don't wait until you need it. Think in advance. So start doing your fall winter preps. You should already be done with the fall prep.
That's the way I shop.
So yeah.
Hot Tubs Tony water filtration system is wow.
But he has a picture of it.
That's the map. That's what we sell here.
Can I
That's what
show?
the mechanics use.
Yeah,
Small bottle.
It's nice.
Then we actually sell the propane as well as the map.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of them at home. I keep in store, right along with the torch heads.
These are what?
Matter of fact, Ben and Carmen,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably want to give a giveaway of a torch and propane and a map away on both of y'all guys' channel.
Oh,
Right
thank
along with a repair tire kit that I'm gonna purchase off Amazon. And y'all can do a giveaway with both of those. So I get with y'all and get that
Okay.
going too.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Really.
Thank you so
These are
much.
like the pound, and they're relatively inexpensive to me. So
Yeah.
just back these up and then just use them and have them, have a
Yeah.
little container with wheels on it, so I can just throw all that stuff in there, boom, 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 throw it in the back of the truck and go. So, be proactive, when you're thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I keep one of these. I keep one of these and a map and a torch head in my bug out bag.
There you go.
Gotcha.
So I got one of each plus the torch head. Another source of fire.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I gotta. Hot tub is okay to show it. I don't want to show his stuff if he doesn't want me to put it online. Hot tub is okay to show this. So you can pump or water straight from the creek behind.
Hey, ghetto.
Take it out.
What's up?
Hello, Miss Lady. All you fellas. Hello. Sorry to interrupt.
Not interrupting.
Oh, you all good? Welcome aboard.
That's good, man.
Y'all was talking about water, and I'm out here in my garage, and I was going to show you.
Before you start, let me just show this real quick because I don't know how long it's gonna last on here. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. This is. I don't know. Can you see it?
Oh yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming off in the garage, the main entry, and goes through and
Oh,
filters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's one. Hang on a second.
He has two.
No.
You could click on her video, Ben, and you can make her solo so you can so most people can see it. If you didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that? And
The solo layout. There you go.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Oh, that's in your house.
That's hot tub.
no, that's hot tub. Somebody else's. He was
Oh,
just,
okay.
There you go. That's what you got to do.
Let me see. Yeah, it went. I think that was it. It only gave me 2 plays, so
Okay.
that's another one.
Cool. That's
Hot
nice.
tub.
Yes.
One and only Hot Tub Tony.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, Mr. Hot Tub?
Yeah.
So,
Solo.
real quick, I just wanted to show y'all my
We had to let them put you on solo so they can see it because it's real small.
Oh, yeah, we can put you on solo, bro.
okay.
Solo dolo.
Okay.
So the way we got it set up is this is the actual system itself.
Mm-hmm.
I got it
They
labeled.
being hot tub have the same internet.
I'm in the basement, so it's a bad service. But this is my main city water right here.
Coming into the house. Yeah.
This is going for the creek behind my house.
Oh wow.
So
Oh, okay.
I can double back between back and forth, and what filters out the water is each stage in the metal cylinder. It goes through a natural filtration from sand to rock to dirt. Then it filters into the larger bucket, which you can't see them now, but it's because I'm low. But it filters into salt pellets, so you can buy those salt pellets for like $12 a bag at Home Depot.
Yeah.
But I can push water from either source. So if the city water goes down,
You got the creek.
yeah, I'm pumping straight out of the creek.
Now, how does it maintain pressure in the creek? Is it just the flow of the creek, or do you have to have a pump system?
No, I got a pump system actually
Okay.
right here.
There you
This
go.
small little pump
Oh, okay.
is tied in, and it can pump from the creek all the way to the back into the house and pump through all 3 floors of the house.
And how long a
Man,
distance
that's
does that
nice.
run from the creek to your house?
I've only done it one time,
Mhm.
so it's something I do like every 2 or 3 years. But it normally takes about 30 minutes.
Okay.
After you got to run your water, and you run it for 30 minutes. Once you start pumping, you run water for 30 minutes. You're running all the what left of the bad water out,
Uh-huh.
and then you should be filtered all the way through with the filtration system.
So that's the system.
Ooh.
One time. Cool.
Now you got to back up on power. Like if the power goes out, you got a generator to run the pumps and stuff.
I got backup generators upstairs.
There you go.
I bought my
That's what's
generator.
up.
I actually bought my generators from the pawn shop. Pawn shops have a lot
Yeah,
of
always
Yeah,
have the
Oh,
generation out
yeah,
front.
that's what I'm
Tons
talking
of them.
about.
and I think I paid like the generator that I have. I want to get 2 more, but it's
Mhm.
like a $7,000 generator. I got it for like $800.
Jeez.
That's great.
yeah.
Is the cylinder copper or stainless steel?
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. Okay.
There you go. That's a good setup, man.
Great
That's what I'm
setup.
talking about.
Well, you can have a setup like that. They've gone up a little bit in price, but I think I got that whole setup on a payment program for like $4,000. I know that's kind of pricey.
Yeah, but look what
they'll
you
work
got.
with you.
Look what you got. You got water
Yeah.
from
Nice.
King
Yeah,
Fortune,
it's
guaranteed.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of money you're paying for filters from Berkey,
Thank
that
you.
pays for itself.
Or bottled water or this and that. and the
But
other.
yeah, add
Yeah.
up bottled water for a year.
That's why I
Yeah,
don't.
That's good to know, man.
That's a
Mhm.
good
You know,
setup,
something
man.
like that would alleviate especially if you bugging in.
Mhm.
As long as you got a ready-made water source, no matter how suspect the water source is,
Now,
you
when
can
you're
use you can use that setup and you have relatively clean water.
that run from the creek to your house, do you have that like camouflage or covered so people don't like?
Well,
know
most
that
of it is I got it's a 6-foot drop at the end of my property in the back,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the only thing that you see is the pipe run that actually goes down in the
Okay.
water. They buried the whole thing
Cool.
all the way out.
Cool.
Ooh, this man knows what's up.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
That's
I'm over here.
I'm over here with a life straw.
Yeah, me too, man. I got like 5 of them. And
With a life straw. He got the real deal.
right? That's what I was gonna show y'all right here. For like just let me put it on the sideways. But basically, I save all my old laundry detergent containers, and I got them stacked up. I got about 100 and something of them, but I've been stacking them up for years in my old plastic containers, and I leave a little bit of soap in each of them, you know, just for hygiene or cleaning or whatever. Now, this isn't my drinking stuff. This is more for, you know, the cleaning stuff up. But everything can be recycled was kind of what I was saying. But
Lower
the
that
hot tub,
yeah.
yeah, hot tub knows what's up though.
Yeah.
That's so pretty.
I mean, I bought that
People don't
setup
think about
around
that.
the time of when the Flint water crisis was going on. That's
Yeah,
around the time.
in Michigan. Yeah.
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 They were people weren't thinking on that line back then, but you know, if you live in certain areas, that's something that's a necessary investment right there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And they still ain't really recovered in Flint.
No.
They're still drinking dirty water and getting bottled. It's like, come on, man. How long ago was that? Did that kick off?
Woo. Some years.
There's been some years since the Flint crisis.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know,
Mhm.
it was about 10, 15 years ago. The city of South Bend got caught dumping their raw sewage into St. Joe River, and that's part of the drink. That's part of the drinking water. So the city was dumping raw sewage in the drinking water.
Not telling nobody.
God.
Yeah, the government discovered it and found. You know, they gave them a fine, a little smack on the.
My
hand.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Raw
exactly.
sewage is part of petroleum base. Good gracious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To me, that's ecological terrorism. To me,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, you're exposing people to all these toxins, this, that, and the other, not telling them about it, knowingly doing that to save yourself a few dollars to have to transport that somewhere else, you know, at a premium. So
They should have closed them completely down. Is what they should have did.
yeah, give them a slap on the hand and keep it moving.
It's good to know he loves his
Clean water. He probably does just do it for his hot tub.
One day we'll do a video and show y'all the hot tub, man.
There you go.
But that's something that I think everybody, I don't care where you stay at.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need the water source for a filtration system like that. If you just want to filter what's coming in your house, that's a good investment to have.
Because you're trusting somebody else that water is clean. But like we just talked about, they're dumping sewage in the system. You don't know when those pumps go off, this, that, and the other, how much they have, you know, legal levels of contamination they could be in your water. But it's like, you know,
yeah,
you don't want any level.
And that's that setup right there that I showed y'all. I learned that when I was overseas in Afghanistan. Was it Afghanistan? No, Iraq. That's the same system that the Army uses when they touch down at an area. When they don't have clean water access, the water that's on every one of those bases overseas is pumped straight out the creek. And they set up those systems while they are in the process of setting up the more permanent water filtration plants. They'll use those on every building that pumps water. They have that same setup.
So it's proven. It's like it's the real deal.
And as long as you putting those salt pellets are necessary though. As long as you putting those salt pellets in, I wish I had the bag to show you guys.
Yeah.
But as long as you have those in there, and once you fill it up, it lasts for years.
Yeah. Man.
I've had that system since 2011. I've only had to fill it up twice.
I'm surprised you get salt pellets so cheap, man.
Yeah, they're real cheap because a lot of people don't use them.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
That's awesome.
That's
good. We look like we're still facing toxic water crisis here in Michigan. I just wrote up an article.
And the bad part is it's not just Michigan now. They've had incidents all over the country.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more prevalent as the infrastructure fails, as all this stuff comes down. It's all over the country. We had one in California not too long ago, one here in Texas in the Panhandle, places where you wouldn't think that it's happening. But it gets no notoriety. It gets no pub on the news. So
well, the EPA did a report, I say about 3 years after the whole Flint crisis went down. They said you getting lead in every major city, mostly in the inner cities. That you have the same issue with lead in the water supply coming from those old pipes in the major cities. So
that doesn't count the plastic neither.
Right.
Because we got forever plastic now, and it's actually within our lungs. It's going all the way down to our DNA. If you look up Erin Brockovich, I know most of y'all probably remember her movie, but she's actually battling the big sources now because of the forever particles of plastic and stuff like that. I mean, there's not one place where there's water without plastic.
But they get around it because they changed the laws to say there are legal levels of it. So many parts per million. First it was per billion, then it's per million, then it's per thousand. But there's no safe level for some of those chemicals. There's no safe level for some of these contaminants, like for firefighting chemicals that get into the water sources in these countries. There's no safe levels because they cause cancer even at a super micro level. So and so they know what's going on. They just keep changing the laws to get away with it.
Blind eye.
Yep. That's why I call it ecological terrorism because they're
depopulation.
Yeah,
that's something.
In Flint, there was a man. You'll have to research it. I don't have the links or nothing, but in Flint, Michigan, there was a man that was sitting out in the Walmart parking lots, and he had his own distillery in a what was it? It was in like a container ship type of setup. Like it was. I don't know if it was an RV or it was in a box trailer, but he was distilling the clean water, the water from Flint, Michigan, and it was like the day or two after he was on the news talking about it.
Somebody went sabotaged.
They sabotaged it, man.
He said they knew what they were doing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He said they knew what they hit specific parts of that machine
to disable it.
Yeah. It was free. It was free, clean water. He was able to give it to the people for free. It didn't cost him nothing for making it. I'm not sure how he did it. I ain't that smart, but he was, able to find a way, and they took it out.
It was
it's their agenda.
Engineering thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
They want you to pin it on the government.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But see, setups like that, you can actually do yourself. Like you said, that's a fact. It was expensive for the dude he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said he did all of that for like $15,000. It cost him to make that system, but he, like you said, it was pumping out free water, free clean water for all those citizens. But it was his own government that shut it down.
Oh yeah, because you don't have to run the water.
Yeah.
You could go get free water. Take a bath with that free water.
It's not about the public. It's more private, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Private companies, yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, Prepper 101 put that thing up there. That's like, that's why we have to take control of our food sources. Because for me, I don't want no rat poop in my food. I don't want
Right. Oh, you don't, man. You don't like that? That's a special seasoning, man. It gives you a lot.
That was in that drip sauce. That better not be in that drip sauce.
Yeah. Asking Robbins there.
And those numbers keep going down. They keep adjusting those numbers historically to allow, you know. So it's like, no.
Yeah. It's like, who put raisins in this?
Go change your mind. Go watch the movie What the Hell. How much mucus is left in this?
How's facetious?
And see, I used to be on my grandparents' house. They used to like peas and all that. They used to grow all that. They didn't depend on the store. They grew a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to remember picking peas as a kid.
Yeah, so they have to do this snap
Snap it and
clean them and all that stuff. Is like, yeah.
It's long gone now.
In a way, I'm kind of glad we have to go back to that. It's healthy for us.
It's much healthier for you. It's so much more healthier for you.
That's why I think they're trying to prevent it, though. Like the type of SHTF we're expecting, I think they're trying to veer us away from actually doing that. I mean, they've spent so many decades trying to take us away from self-reliance. That I don't think they're just going to easily be like, okay, grid down situation. Now everybody's got to, go back to the old ways. I think they're going to
control you at that point.
Exactly. Yes, sir. That's why I feel like that's not the SHTF that we're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to teach my kids the way we're supposed to be.
It's the level of social control. I can control when you eat, when you don't eat, what kind of water you have, then I control you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna prevent you from being able to. You look at a lot of the laws even in your local city, it make it hard to grow
any
livestock in certain areas of your city.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't stay in the county portion, then at least out here in Georgia, if you don't stay in the county, it's a lot of things you can't do. You can't hunt on your land. You can't have livestock of any kind. That includes like chickens and goats and stuff like that. And it's all set up to keep that population reliant on that government structure.
Yeah.
This may trip y'all out, but in the state of Oregon, where I'm from, you'll go to prison for collecting your own rainwater.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
I think they got it in Washington State too, also.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
Certain counties you can't collect rainwater.
Wow. Criminal activity.
Hey, when I put that filtration system in, the Department of Water Management came out and they threatened to fine me $12,000 a day for having that. I had to meet so many different guidelines, and fortunate enough, I just went on ahead and did it.
Yeah.
What are they basing that on?
They couldn't readily see it, but he actually came out and said, I don't care if you pee on the ground. That's not state of Georgia water.
And you know why? Because you're connected to a creek. So if you go back and look for the paperwork on that creek, I guarantee you that Nestle or Dasani or somebody's got rights to part of that creek.
You're taking money out of their pocket.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's how they were able to pass the laws in Oregon. Wow. This man spent, I think, it was like 30 months or something like that just for collecting rainwater. He was up on the mountain by himself, but he was close to a creek, but he was just collecting the rainwater. He had his whole house set up to it. He could flush his toilet, and he was just living. And Nestle had bought the rights that was above him, and so there you go. And they was able to take advantage of
where
it.
they're catching it because that's they eminent domain over all that.
There you go. Exactly.
It's not public no more. It's private.
It's like when they did with the Native Americans when they came out, ownership of land and this, that, and the other. They were like, no, they didn't even have a concept or a word for actual ownership. They said, yeah, you can, use the land. You can buy it, but they're thinking everybody you can't own land and water and air, but
they knew that there was enough as well. You know what I mean? We only take up like, even with 340 million, whatever we got, we only take up like 3 to 4% of the actual land in the United States. You know what I mean? The rest of it's pretty clear. But that's because they want us in our little cattle state. You know what I mean? They want us herded up together.
Like I learned in the service too. The only thing they did was take the E off states. It's supposed to be United States of America.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
Man, jeez.
Yeah.
So in my house, I have solar panels, and in the summertime, I don't have electric bill because my solar panels make enough energy for me to run my central air and run my household and all that stuff. But do you know? So I had that set up, and I was thinking maybe I would go off the grid. You know, have solar panels, make my own energy, go off the grid. It's once your house is tied into the grid, it's against the law to ever disconnect it from the grid.
Wow.
So if you're building a house, and you want to go solar, never connect your house to the grid, because once you connect to it, you can never cut that connection.
Ties.
And what reasons do they give for that? What's the reasoning behind that?
They didn't give it. They said we're the government, and that's the way it is, basically.
Right. ain't no reason behind it.
No, actually, once you do that grid there, they can't send out a fire truck or anything to your stuff because you're not part of the state or city or whatever.
Not
You have excuses and ways where you're gonna have to put out your own fire with a bucket of water.
Right. There's no way you can do that.
Yeah.
So in the summertime, I make enough electric to run my house, but I have to pay the electric company $15 to be connected to the grid.
Can you sell back any of your power? Do you have storage capabilities?
Yeah. So in Indiana, if I make enough energy, what happens is that it goes to the electric company, and they store it for me. Then I get credit for it.
Okay.
But I don't make enough energy. Not yet, at least. I have never made enough energy
To break
where
even or make money.
I had stored. If I would cut down some trees, I could do that, but I refuse to cut down my trees.
Yeah.
Hey, real deal. There is there's a backdoor way to do that. If you install what is it called, a gen rack, and have an electrician come out and install what they call an automatic transfer switch. And that'll be it's like a bridge from what you send to the county to what you can store.
Yeah.
So if ever a situation where you actually wanted to shut off the grid, it's a manual switch you hit that kicks on the ATS, and then all your power goes into your generator storage, your generator.
Okay. Now I got another question because I've been hearing horror stories about these solar panels, how much they charge you a day or something like that. After you go a certain amount of power that you use off the grid. And I've been hearing stories like that because I think it was one house that had a natural gas generator. And they charge a crazy amount of that, don't they?
To buy those are expensive. I looked into getting a natural gas generator at my house, and they wanted to have it installed and everything, $14,000, and I said no, thank you. What I did was I bought a regular generator and had the electrician wired into my house. So if the power goes off, I go down to the main breaker, I turn off the main switch, and I plug the generator into my house, start it up, and it runs my house for me.
It runs your whole house. Yeah, I got that. When I bought my generator from a guy here at work, he gave me that kit. And what it does is you plug it into your fuel panel box. You hit that switch, and if you need to generate power, you can power it directly to your house, and it comes directly from your generator. I just got to have an electrician come out, one of my partners come out and actually install that plug. But the plug goes on the outside of your house and it runs into the main fuse panel, and you're able to directly plug it up to your house and run it through your generator.
So what do you use for load balance?
Say that again.
So what do you use for load balancing? You know, like overloading and stuff like that.
That's the reason why you cut your main. You cut everything completely off. You just run it completely off your generator. So that's why we say it's hooked up to your main power source in your house, which is your fuse panel box.
Okay, I got
you. Switch off, and then you just go out there and turn it on, and you run your whole house through your generator.
Your fuse panel is your load balance. Okay.
And by law, you have to set it up that way, because if you don't set it up that way and the power goes off, and if they're working on the lines, that will backfeed into the lines and they can get electrocuted. So
Yeah,
it has to
that's
be
why I asked what
cut
you
off
use
at
the
the root.
Maydots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they got them where you can, because he ended up selling me his, but now he has one where he had a company come out directly put a generator on his house. They got companies that come directly put the motor generator up to your house, and it's hardwired directly into your home.
101 Prepper 101. Yeah, they have those power converters. Okay. Good to know.
Get it done while we can, guys. I got a friend that lives in South Africa, and you actually have to pay the electric companies down there to run any kind of solar. He said it don't make no sense, right? And they have grid down situations every single day, 2 to 3 hours. And this is South Africa. I mean, these are Johannesburg. These are bigger cities, but they have to deal with that, even though they have ample enough solar. You know what I mean? That's that continent right there. That gets enough sun for everybody.
Right.
But it's the way the system will keep us. They'll keep us in some kind of stress or some kind of chaos. So we're busy fighting to make sure we're okay, so we don't have to, so we're not paying attention to what they continuously keep doing to us, pretty much.
Now they do have
around the world.
They do have government grant programs that offset the cost of some of the costs of the setup for the solar power generators, but they don't make it easy for you to get those grants anymore.
Yeah. See, that's what I have. I got it the last year, and what it is they gave me $12,000 credit on my taxes. So when I file my taxes, I get my money back until I hit $12,000. And then they install the panels and stuff. So they come out and they say, okay, you use $300 a month in electric. So what they do is they say, with these panels, you'll pay $100. You'll use $100 in electric. And what you do, and then you pay us $200 a month until it's paid off. So it's the same amount as your electric bill. You're following me? So say my electric bill is $300. I give $100 to the electric company, and then $200 to the solar people until it's paid off. But what me and my wife do, we don't like debt, so we always pay double and triple on the bill.
Now, quick question, real deal. Now, if you can pay it on yourself, like you don't want that, you don't want to use that sort of stuff, you want to pay cash for it. You don't have that issue, correct?
No, you can pay cash for it.
Okay,
and you will still get the you still would get the credit for your taxes.
Okay.
So you would pay cash for the solar, but you would still get the $12,000 credit for your taxes. So when you filed your taxes, they would give you back your money until you hit the $12,000 mark.
And that's the set rate every month, though, right? Real deal. Like even if you use less energy in the summertime, you still got to pay that $300, no matter what, huh?
No matter what.
That's why my cousin didn't go for it, because it was like a 30-year plan at the same price, and he's like, "Man, I only use like $50 in the wintertime, but 200 and something in the summer. But they use the biggest amount that you use throughout the year. You got to do it all year."
Wow.
Is anybody in the community using the wind power? I know I have a couple of friends here in Texas that's growing by leaps and bounds, like Primus Wind Power. They're building those small turbines on their land and ended up generating enough power to where they can sell it back. Does anybody have any experience with some of those?
No.
The only fallback on the wind power, because I'm getting ready to switch on. I'm getting ready to I move into my property here next week, and I'm going to go solar battery. I'm going to use the military surplus diesel generators as a backup. I'm going to have wind turbines. I've done a lot of checking on those, right? And they the one bad thing about the wind turbines is the bearings go out.
Yeah, over time.
You're not able to get up there if you don't set it up to where you can lower the post down, so you can replace the bearings. I've checked around most of them. That you can buy the bearings at an auto parts store.
Okay,
that's the fallback on them.
Okay,
but I'm just going to give you from from California, right? I don't live in California now, but I lived in California, and I had solar. I made way more power on my home than I needed, and I sold it back to PG&E, and they gave me a couple cents per kilowatt hour, right? I gave them enough power to, on some days, to not only power my house but to power my neighbor's house.
There you go.
So I was basically giving them free power, and they still charged me, just like Real Deal said. They would charge anywhere, depending on how many days there were in the month. It would be anywhere from like $9 to $11 a month just for me to be hooked up to the grid. And then I would build up what was called a credit, and then you have a true update. So the first, so say you started your solar today, a year from now you would have your true update. And so if you went over, if you used more power than you sent them, that's when you had to write them a check. Or for my case, I had a credit, so I sold them way more power than I used, and they only paid me like $98 a year. And if I did the math, if I had to buy that same power, it would have cost me like $1,200-$1,300 for that power I sent them. And so they were actually, and so this is why I kind of got on here, just so you know about the solar power, right? Because it is the way to go. It's the best thing to do. Don't lease it, buy it. Don't ever sign a contract. Don't ever lease it. But so California is setting it up, and they're going to be, California always leads the way, right? So they're setting it up to where, because California actually owns PG&E.
Yeah.
Because PG&E went into bankruptcy, never got out of bankruptcy. But set that aside, PG&E was starting to change it to where they weren't going to pay people like me and Real Deal that sold them extra power. They were going to say, yeah, that's your fault. You know, I mean, you're not going to get nothing for it. So they're going to still keep that extra power and charge us a connection fee.
Isn't that called theft?
And then it's called theft.
Right.
And they've actually even tried to and at some point it's going to go through. They tried to raise it to where it was going to be like $50 to $60 a month for that fee, right? Because they, in the end, they're losing money, right? Utility companies, your natural gas, your water, and your electric, by state and federal law, and I think it's more federal than anything, they're guaranteed to profit. They have to make a profit. If they don't make a profit, they go out of business, and the ghetto loses its power, Skilly loses its water, and Carbon loses their natural gas to her house, right? So they're guaranteed to make a profit. And so they can actually at some point do that and say, well, you know, Real Deal here, he's over here hooked up, and he's not even hooked up to the grid, but we're going to charge him a penalty, right? Because we have to make money, and those in power make the laws that we have to abide by. So at some point, even being on solar or wind, they're going to find a way to tax you. They're drawing everybody into it, right? Just like your electric cars. Think about that. Like California in 2035, they're already trying to pass it to where you can't buy any fuel type cars like diesel or gasoline or even natural gas.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to at some point look at. So California has some of the highest taxes in the nation, and it's close to like 50, 60 cents a gallon or something like that. I have to look it up. It's been a while. That they charge per gallon on gasoline.
Yeah.
And so if they get rid of all of our cars that run on gas, they're going to lose billions of dollars a year in tax revenue. So they're going to get that money back. And what they're going to end up doing is all those people that bought into getting the green vehicles, they're going to start charging them more. They're going to charge them an extra penalty a year for all that, right? So, and in the end, your green energy thing that's going through isn't about cleaning the air up. It isn't about climate change. It's a political tool, right? Yeah, that's right, BP. It's a political tool, and we'll just call it what it is. The left has abandoned the energy sector of the United States, coal, gas, right? They've abandoned them. They kicked them off to the side, and they've invested all their interest in the green energy sector. And so they bought all these stocks into Elon Musk, right? And all these solar plants and all these wind turbines all over, right? They've invested in there, and they want a return.
Exactly.
And to get that return, I have to get out of my gas guzzling truck.
Yeah.
You gotta stop using that coal power plant. You know what I mean? That's the real thing. You know, people don't get at that, and we all know that, right? We're all adults here. We all know they're trying to divide us on everything they can.
Oh yeah.
And that's just another tool, right? They've like I was telling Ghetto, so you got two political factions, right? You got a Republican and a Democrat. Step outside of it. Don't be on either side of that. Look at it from the outside, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to take out your enemy, and our government said this over and over again, right? Now I'll use ISIS as an example. When ISIS first got big, remember they were just JV, and then we had to go after them. That was one of the first things they said is to go after these guys and stop them. We need to find out where their money's coming from and cut them off.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're doing. That you got the oil, gas, coal, nuclear energy. They send their money, their lobbyists go to the Republican side, right? And so on the opposite side of that, you got all the wind, all the green energy, right?
On the left.
They put all their investment into the left, right? And so if you wanted to take out your enemy and you wanted to crush the Republican side, you kill the American energy sector, right? We're not going to get off of oil. We're going to get off American oil, and all those foreign oil companies are going to give money to which side? They're going to give it to the left. So they win-win, right? They kill their enemy by robbing them of their financial base.
Yeah.
And yet they take their financial base and push it over to their side. You know what I mean? So they're going to win-win on either side. Yeah, but your soul is awesome. But I'm just telling you, in the end, they've already got a plan for all that. They're gonna punish people like Real Deal and me. Here in a couple weeks, I'm going to start a 25,000 kilowatt solar plant, and that's going to be huge. I'm going to start probably at least 2 wind turbines. I'm going to have 2 big, huge battery banks. I'm going to have a diesel generator out there as a backup for emergencies. I'm going to be off the grid. I'm not going to pay a penny here. But this time next year, I will never have a power bill again until they come up with that. Well, we're going to have to penalize Prepper 101, right?
Exactly.
And just like somebody said, maybe it's Real Deal. You can't get off the grid once you're on there. You're on there, whether you're pulling power or you're sending power or you're not doing either. They're still going to get you. You know what I mean? It's crazy. They have to get their money from somewhere.
Now I got a question about that, because that's what my son is in school now for an electrician, and he was telling me that there are back doors to you being on the grid with your power.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't come in your house and see your setup. So as long as your setup is not outside and they can't see it.
Yeah, but the thing is, they always have the power to criminalize things. They always have the power to change the laws to make it so that you have to. And that's the insidious thing about this. They always have the power to do things, and they're playing both sides against the middle, like Prepper 101 says. We have to look at that 50,000 foot level and do what we need to do regardless. Because
there's ways to tell too, Hot Tub. So I'm gonna give California here where I'm at in Wyoming. They don't have it. It's called smart meters. Mm-hmm. They can actually Bluetooth remotely in real time, measure how much power you're using, or measure how much power you're sending back to the grid. I could literally go online and I could watch how much power I was sending to them. It update every couple hours, and I could watch them. So it's. Oh, go ahead, Carmen.
I'm sorry. What was the name of that?
Smart meter.
Yeah.
They use that here in Texas. Texas is its own animal as far as power is concerned. They're not on the national grid. And they have their own thing, but they have that same thing too. Now it saves them
money. They don't got to pay a meter guy to go out there and check your meter.
They can also control.
It's called the higher tier. So starting in like California, it was like between 9 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. They would measure if you use power you went over, say, 30 kilowatts in that certain time period, they would raise your tier rate up. You would go from 18 cents a kilowatt hour to 30 cents a kilowatt hour.
How they do it. That's why people were getting like $50,000 bills when the power went out, and they maintained power to their house. They were getting bills for like $100,000 for 4 hours worth of usage because they bumped you up automatically to that higher gear. And then it's so insidious. I get on my phone, if there's a high peak usage day, hey, did you know today's a high peak usage day? If you reduce your power, yada yada, to so and so and so and so, we'll give you So yeah, it's a way.
It was bad in Berkeley. They used to do that.
The one thing you'd also want to worry about too, there, Hot Tub, is so you open yourself up to a huge liability too. So say you're on the grid and your solar system's set up and you don't have a disconnect on there, and you're producing power, but you're producing more power than Hot Tub's using, man. You got your hot tub off, you know what I mean? You're not running that bad boy, you know what I mean? And so you're sending power to the grid, and you came over to my house for a barbecue and to help me fix my hot tub because it's broke, man. And then your power goes out in your area, right? And
Mhm.
your grid goes down, and you're still sending power to the grid, and you kill a lineman, and they come track it back to your house.
Yeah.
You're liable for that. Yeah, you killed somebody.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But like you said, as long as you got to have that disconnect on there.
You can have those put on there, and they can be automatic too. They can sense the power on the upstream side and stay to where you'd be all right. But at some point, they're going to put a smart meter on your house. And I was shocked they didn't have them here. I asked about them. The guy looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm going, "All right, I don't want to talk about it then." I didn't want to bring it up. Yeah, but me, like, even if no matter what I do, I'm going to have a disconnect. Even if they come pull the meter off, right? And they if I tell them no, I want to be off the grid, and they pull their meter, I'm still going to put a disconnect on there. And that way, if they ever put it on there and I don't know about it, I'm not going to be liable. It's in the end, I don't want to kill nobody, because electricity will wipe you out. It's zappy.
Yeah. No.
I do have a question. When you were talking about you gave them back energy that you collected from solar.
Mm-hmm.
Is there no way for you to utilize that energy, like put it in a battery pack and use it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. So at my other house, I didn't have a battery setup, but if I would have stayed in California, that would have been my next step. I would have put a battery system in there, and I would have stored that, and I would have probably just had them pull their meter. Whether I had to pay the $10 a month, who gives a shit? I would have been disconnected from them. But yeah, you need some way to store that power. And otherwise at night you're not going to have power. You're going to either be running off the grid like I was, right? So when I stopped making power as the sun went down or cloudy days or whatnot, I stopped sending them power and I started pulling power, right? And then you would need a battery backup system to that storage tonight. Or
it's a battery bank. It's a battery bank. Generac is the main company that makes those, and you can buy those.
Yeah.
And they got different tiers.
Tesla has them.
And before the big
I am going to go with the Generac.
The price points were coming down on those. They were getting less expensive, but now it's kind of driving those price points.
Oh yeah, they super expensive.
Extremely high.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
Carbon Q.
Yes.
Every state is different. Every state has different
Texas
laws
its own
when it comes
thing,
to the power. Like California is extreme. Like I believe everything what Prepper 101 said, but like Indiana, basically right now the way they're set up is if I was making more electric, they basically are a battery bank for me. Like say in the summertime I made more electric than I use. In the wintertime, I would get credit for that electric. And in the wintertime, when I was drawing electric from the electric company, they would credit me the electric I made through the summertime and put it, towards my bill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're true up.
Yeah. So let's say I was making 1,000 watts a month, and in the summertime I make 1,000 watts, but I make 2,000 watts, but I'm only using 1,000 watts. So they hold 1,000 watts for me, and then I have 8,000 watts made. In the wintertime, I'm using 1,000 watts every month. Well, I have 8,000 watts stored, so they're using that credit towards my bill, and then I wouldn't have a bill. You know what I'm saying? That's how Indiana's set up right now. But every state has different laws for it.
Georgia's like that, but it's even worse down here because it goes city to city. We got that set up out here where I am, but the closer you get to the city of Atlanta, it's almost exactly like California.
Yeah. Texas is run by ERCOT, which provides 90% of the power in Texas. You have that 10% of people who are off the grid or have their own power, but that whole agency runs 90% of the power in Texas. So that was the problem.
Unique, it's independent.
Out in the suburbs and the more rural areas of Georgia, they actually want you to go the solar route because they still to this day they have rolling blackouts out here where you in the summertime during peak hot times you'll see your power go out for about 30 minutes a day. So they're trying to encourage us to go more solar as opposed to the cities where they don't want that. So
Well,
you just got
the bad thing about that is if you don't have, see, I went through that too, right? So I didn't have battery backup. So my solar controller, just like we were talking about the disconnect, it had an internal disconnect. It wasn't actually on the power panel. It was on the solar controller itself. And so when it's seen PG&E to drop power, I stopped making power. I would, and I don't know if that's the same thing for Real Deal, but if the power company that I was tied into lost power, I lost power. Even though if it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon and beautiful sun, my solar panels would not, it opened the circuit and wouldn't allow power to go into my house. That's why you need the battery backup or the disconnect.
Oh,
Same
okay.
thing for me.
So is it Real Deal? Is it like that? Okay, the rate that the 800, right? The 1,000 that you're giving back, use at a later date. Is it at the same rate when you were using it? Quay was asking a question.
Yeah. It's at the same, talking about the same price. Yeah.
Okay.
So right now in the state of Indiana, they can't charge me anymore for it. That's what the law is in Indiana. Now that could change. That could change at any time.
Anytime. Yeah.
But right now that's the law. So basically the electric company becomes a battery bank for me.
Oh,
yeah. You store credits. You store credits with.
Yeah.
Credit.
So, but okay. So
what if you, Real Deal? What if you? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask a quick question. Grid down, would you be able to bypass that circuit to get the solar to come into your house if there was a grid down situation, or
so you would need to know how to. You would need to know how to get in there and jumper the controller, right? And I didn't do that. We didn't have power outages that long. They'd be like hours at the most. But
it'd be
for
something worth looking into, though, right?
Long term, yeah. You know, that's why I was looking at getting, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go battery, and then even if I'm still tied to the grid, I can still send them power, and then maybe and maybe if I didn't have enough power, see, and I'll still have my generator backup. But if I'm tied to the grid and say I don't have enough battery power, say it snowed for 4 days, and I didn't make enough power, and my battery slowly down, I could be back from the grid. But if they're gonna say I can't have solar to the grid, I'm going off. But for you to jumper that, I'm sure you could, but I wouldn't want to do it because I'm sure you'd void the warranty on your whole system.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of security.
And what my plan is once I get a few things paid off, I'm going to get a what do they call those power walls, or the battery wall with the system, and then if the power goes off, my solar panels will charge up the generator, and then I can run my house. But I gotta get a few things paid off first.
Yeah.
The Tesla solar panel, the Tesla wall, whatever they're called, they're pretty nice. I was looking at just like Hot Tub said, the Generac has a cabinet system where you can add and replace the batteries in there. It's user friendly, right? Hot Tub, you can get in there and upgrade your panels.
Yeah, it's real.
Cabinets. You can stack 2 panels side by side, and you can get up to like 34 kilowatts, which is way more to get you through a nighttime.
Mm.
That's good to know.
That's Generac.
Yeah, I used to, in the summertime, I'd make like 52 kilowatts a day, and I'd use like 34. So I always send them something back.
So what my other question also, I know y'all have homes, but what generators are good for apartment complex personnel?
For apartments?
Yeah,
man, that's
they got
going to be the restriction on that is going to be your rules of your apartment. I mean, it's yeah. I would go a small little one. That if you had like a balcony, put it on there. You're going to have problems with the noise. There's going to be a social issue to have a generator in a apartment.
Because I seen those cylinders. The guy was coming by down here, and I've seen it at a gun show. This guy had a table, and he had a survival table, and he had these cylinders. And I don't know, these cylinders here, he said it can just power anything that you got in your house, from freezer to phone to everything. But I wanted to hear anybody else have heard about those cylinders.
Was it like an inverter? Like a power? Was it an inverter?
It was like a big cylinder, but it was like it could power a house and apartment complex, but it's, you know, how can I say? He was just
like a solar generator?
Huh?
Like a solar generator, or was it actually a cylinder round?
It was a cylinder.
I never heard of that.
Big cylinder.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, okay, I don't know if it was water driven or what, but you know, it was power. It could swat it and all that stuff. I don't know what it was. It could have been a generator thing set from battery.
So I'm going to go from a prepper's perspective, right? If you're living in an apartment complex, any type of generator that you got to run is going to draw attention to you left and right. It's going to be everybody's going to want to come to your house. I would go with the solar generator. Something you could have your windows closed and you could still put your solar panels in there. Yeah. And you don't need to run everything all day long. We're spoiled, right? And we leave lights on. You don't need to run your refrigerator 24 hours a day. You know, stay out of it. Just only go on it when you need to. But and the solar generators now are so they're amazing. I mean, you can plug microwaves in them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what this one right here does. I'm sorry about the light, but I got me a little 120 watt, foldable solar panel, and then this is what is it, 1500 watts or something. I mean, they have better, like the Jackeries, like the Jackery 1500 stuff like that. That will run your stuff for a while. Just make sure you either got the solar panel or another way to to back it up. But Prepper 101 is right. You want to be able to be extremely discreet. Even when you're prepping, like you want to hide the smells of your food and all kinds of other stuff, especially if you plan on staying in an apartment. And I got a couple little ones too that runs off of the same solar panel if I need to. I can also with this one. So this is a solar generator inverter. I can also charge it up with my car battery. There's a plug-in that I can just plug it right into my car and plug it in, or my house or whatnot.
Yeah.
And that right there actually runs my freezer, because that's why I got it. It runs my freezer for 9 hours. Mm-hmm. So I'll be able to use that one. And then the littler one is for, the littler devices, my rechargeable lighters and flashlights and radios.
And even if you had a small gasoline generator to run for a little bit, you can use that to charge your generator up to get you through that whole solar generator. I'll tell you another good thing. You guys probably already know this, but maybe some people in the chat know, are your garden solar lights. Those things are amazing. I mean, you can, like, if you're living in an apartment, you can go stick those over there in that window and leave them there to charge up. Those, I'm talking about those little garden solar lights you just stick in the ground, and they're like a lawn light, for the sidewalks. Well, you could put a couple of those in your house and you'll light a room up, and they'll stay on most of the night. That's a great prep to have, and some of them you can get that are actually kind of smaller. You can throw in a backpack, and then you let it hang out when you're walking around.
These right here, Mr. 101.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking for everybody that don't have a home, that's living in an apartment, vice versa, generator wise. What can you use? Bio, lithium. You know what I'm saying? Because the best solution if you live in an apartment is find a way to get out of it. That would be in a shift or WROL. That'd be the worst out of all the places. That would be the worst place to be. Yeah, you're probably got people above you, below you, on the side of you, behind you. I mean, you're limited on your access to come in and out. Everybody knows what you got. People watch you come in. Especially if you're a prepper and you're coming in and you're like, come on, I ain't gonna lie. When COVID went down, I was going to the store a couple times a day. I parked in my garage when I unloaded my car, in an apartment complex, you might have to walk a half a block to get there. People are going to see you.
Well,
they're going to smell you, like Ghetto said, they're going to smell you cooking food every day, and they're going to go, wow, Ben has a way to cook food every day. And on top of that, he's got food to cook every day. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, he's be able to stay in there. Well, and also a lot of people, and this is what Walking Dead doesn't cover when they're talking about the houses and stuff, is if there is a grid down situation, that means the sewage pumps are going to go out. So all these apartments are going to be overflowed with sewer water. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
So there's a thing called a water bob, and it's a carbon. It's a big bag. It's a 100-gallon bag. It's in a box about the size of like a small trash bag box, right? Mm-hmm. And you can go throw it in your closet and forget about it. and if something were to happen, say there was something chaotic that happened in your area, right? Big explosion and you lost power and you lost all contact, cell phones. I mean, all those things we're looking for happened all at once. I mean, you lost communication with everybody. You go grab one of those, throw it in your bathtub, fill it up, right? And fill it up. If you're going to have to do that, you'd want to fill up all your glasses, cups, everything, because the water pressure is going to drop, because just like Ghetto said, all the pumps are going to shut off. And you could fill that bag up. You could throw a blanket over it to keep it the sun from hitting and trying to turn it into bacteria. And they have a pump, little hand pump.
Yeah,
you have a little hand pump, and that you can store 100 gallons of water right there.
That's why I loved the Texas when all of our power went out. That was a perfect test run for me.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I did. Yes, so the power started acting up. That was the first thing. It was like, why you feel? Because the water pumps are going to go out. We're going to be having, and of course, the power went out.
Well,
sewage,
and if you're stuck in your apartment, where are you going to put your poop? Right.
All that set up.
So you're going to need that.
I'm telling people, I'm really
going to need that water to flush.
Yeah,
you got a freezer and storage unit. You prepared for certain things.
Yeah.
So, but it also pointed out a couple of things that I wasn't good at or ready for at that time. So communications was like my weak point. So it pointed it out. And communication between me, my daughter, who was here and there, that's a problem. So that kind of sucked it out. So it was like a real world test case. But Zachary's, and for me, I do stay in an apartment. I was looking at either the 500 or 1,000 because I'm not going to have it always on. I don't need that much power to run what I need. I have, everything's charged up. I have solar battery or backup batteries and stuff like that. So you have to kind of do the research and figure out what your needs are going to be. So I was looking at that 1,000 or 500 even would be enough power for me. So,
but yeah, because like I said, at the end of the day, when you're preparing yourself, we're well equipped. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, anybody come knocking at the door, I'm gonna knock back with something else. So that's
right.
In the house. Door I do not know. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't on this panel, they gonna get a panel. That's yourself.
You pointed out the detriments of living in an apartment. My biggest fear is fire. If people start, don't have power, they start using candles, this, that, and the other. I know I'm going to be careful, but I don't know what my neighbor upstairs is doing.
Yeah.
I can burn out, lose everything.
I just had a fire in the house I'm renting yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
An actual fire. I had a fire. A stove caught on fire, and that's no lie. I was cooking dinner, and ended up being a grease fire, an electric stove, and I'm a prepper. I got all kinds of fire extinguishers, man. Come on. Remember we were talking about that the other day, right? Guess where my fire extinguishers are? They're in a storage shed.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Sink. You got some under the kitchen sink, don't you?
This is my house. I rented it. And so I got, we're getting ready to move out here in a few weeks. So yeah, the stove caught on fire and you don't have much time. And luckily for me, I work in the oil industry and I've had fires that I've had to put out. And I knew what to do, right? I wet a dish towel, and the fire was coming. It was getting bigger, right? It was growing. It actually got inside the stove and the back panels and everything. But I knew to smother it, right? And I got lucky. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm great, but I got lucky and got it out. Yeah, I could have lost everything I had.
Wow.
So fires are real, and they're devastating.
Exactly. So got to be prepped for all contingencies. Be ready. So because you never know.
But back to it doesn't matter if you're in an apartment or your home. If you lose power, say you had an earthquake, right? Let's go down to normal common sense stuff. You just had a normal emergency or earthquake, tornado, hurricane, 3 or 4 days. He's right, man. Your sewage is going to be huge. With your waste, especially if you're living in an apartment. So that's that old saying: yellow is metal. Yellow is mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. That means if you pee toilet, don't flush it, right? If you had any water that you use to wash dishes with, don't drain it. Put it in something that you can use to put in your toilet tank, right? You might have to fill the back of your toilet tank. Use that water bob, a couple gallons out of that. Don't use your water wisely. Find multiple uses for it.
And that's my thing. When I fill up the bathtub, my bathtubs are for my toilet, so I can make sure the waste can get out of here. So and I have my other water for this.
That's something not a lot of people think about.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with your trash, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about getting cedar chips. You know, get a bucket. Yeah, chips.
They sell composting toilets, and I believe that's what they put in there, cedar chips. Yeah.
You gotta get.
But yeah, like your trash. You know, I think about that. You know, all the time. I go, wow, your trash tells a lot about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you took all your trash and you threw it in your backyard, it's gonna smell, right? You're gonna have to deal with it. But if I'm your neighbor behind you and I'm going, man, what's Prepper 101 over there doing? What's he got going on? You go through somebody's trash and
he's cooking chicken. He's cooking this. He's cooking
right.
Yeah, dumpster diving and trash canning.
Yeah,
people do that.
You learn a lot, and that your trash could actually bring in the unwanted people you don't want around your home.
Yeah. He's eating good.
And everybody's going to be hypersensitive too. They're going to smell stuff. I mean, their noses are going to be on point, especially when they're hungry. To answer Fat Guy real quick, it's actually an acid battery. That thing is heavy. I didn't know that at the point. It was more of an impulse buy. I seen Alaskan Prepper have a big old Duracell and how it worked. And man, it's the acid one actually. This one right here is lithium. I wanted to also bring this up to some people that might not know. This is Pool Shock. Get you a nice little bucket of Pool Shock and put it in your preps. And besides the weaponry you can make with it with brake fluid, we're not gonna go into that one. But you're allowed to, you're allowed to clean. I mean, millions of gallons of water. I mean, if you got enough of this shock, I mean, you're good for the rest of your life. Honestly, it's able to clean your stuff.
I think I was blessed to go through some survival scenarios when I was over in the Philippines when the volcano erupted. And just to see 11 o'clock in the afternoon looking like midnight and volcanic ashes falling, and you have to go off and just pick up people and you're watching bodies. That scenario really woke me up and saying, this country's blessed, really. Because we get tornadoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes like that, but just to see a country that wasn't prepared, don't have the necessity things to help them get back on their feet, and it takes years. It takes years to do things like that. Just learning that, saying, okay, all right, now it's time to improvise. When I do have my place and situation, keep my head on the swivel. I prepare for this, things in the pantry, what's under the bed, what I have here, I keep myself like that, inundated, So just everybody doing things.
Bad things happen. Tragedy strikes it always at the inopportune time, right? So it could be anything. We all prepare for Red Dawn or the boogeyman, whatever we want, but most likely it's going to be a natural disaster, or even an accidental man-made disaster, right? How many of you live next to a railroad track? Right, you can have a train derail. You do not know what's on those trains. They're hauling hazardous. I mean, I remember a few years ago they had a train hauling produced oil out of the ground. It blew up and wiped out a whole town. Right, you may have to leave. I'm a bug-in guy. I don't. BP, you are too. I know you are, Ghetto. I'm a bug-in guy, but you could have some toxic chemicals on a train that's 5 miles from you. You got to leave. You got to go. Are you going to die, right? Or is it going to be on the plug in? I'm going to put on my bulletproof vest and eat my MREs. You're probably going to have to leave. And it could be something simple like that. It could be a if you live near a nuclear, people here live next to a nuclear power plant. It could be something.
I'm a bug,
and it happens just like Ben. That volcano went off like that. Nobody knew it was going to happen.
No, I was downtown every day, and all of a sudden, boom! It just shook, lightning struck. What in the world?
And I think about Southern California. My whole family's in Southern California. My whole family's there, and since I've been a kid, my biggest nightmare has been when the big one finally hits. And we say we're prepared. The United States is not going to be ready for the level of destruction, the economic impact.
The subduction zone.
It's going to be great. It's going to be insane. And I've been trying to get my family out of there for 30 years. They still stay there, so we can be prepared. But those natural disasters are going to happen wherever we are in the country.
And I'll give you last year here too. Okay. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I'm good. I'll just say my last thing. Then I got to come in, Ben, if you don't mind posting the StreamYard link again in the chat. I got to reset my stuff. I was just
Okay.
going to say, like, natural disaster wise, last year up here in the Northwest, they microwaved us. Now, I don't know if it was the system or actually Mother Nature. I don't know. But where I'm at, it was 118 degrees and the fruits and the vegetables melted. So something was different last year when it came to, you know, the solar output that was coming towards us. Something was going on. But I'll be right back. Thank you, Ben.
Okay, no problem.
So there's also another scenario you got to consider too, and I'm gonna use LA as an example, right? I lived on the other side of the grapevine, lived over in Bakersfield, and something could happen. Something could have happened in LA. There could have been a dirty bomb or a major earthquake. It wasn't in my area. I'm not affected, right? It doesn't bother me. I can still get up and go outside. I can still go to work. I can go to the park. I can do whatever I want. But millions of people may be displaced out of an area that's not in your region, and they're going to have to go to your area. And when they come in, they could use up all your resources, right? Your gas, your food, your water, your hotels, your medical, your doctors, right? It could be something that had nothing to do with you and where you live, but the outside region got affected and they came to you. They had no other place to go. And I always thought of, and I go, well, I live right there. I lived right I-5 and 99. I'm just going, that's where everybody's going to come. They're going to come on the other side of that hill. And we were the first big city outside of LA, and they were going to come wipe us out. And then you got to deal with, you have a lot of displaced people. Crime's going to go up. You're going to have to be worried about that being mugged or robbed. You know, there could be, and you're talking people that were 24 hours ago were good, honest, hardworking people, and 24 hours later, they're thugs and they're murderers. You know.
Yeah, you talk about that. That happened real world here in San Antonio when Katrina happened. We got a huge influx of people from Louisiana, and you saw a change overnight in the city. Crime went boom like crazy. You know, just the people, the homeless that were on the street, it was a different type of mentality. It was just overnight. So like you said, those displaced people, they're under stress, they're under this, that, and the other, and desperate people do separate things. So, you know, we have to plan for that. You know, to talk about LA is in the desert. There's no natural water source. The natural water, the water that comes in comes up over the mountains, over the San Andreas Fault. So you're going to have people who don't have water, they don't have food. The roads are going to be destroyed and very few ways in and out of the city. You talk about 14 million people being displaced, moving trying to get through Bakersfield, through a couple passes out of the city. We're not going to be. This country's not ready for that. Yeah,
stay balanced, stay ready, y'all.
Yeah,
right. North Florida, you saw it. So you're speaking facts there, Prepper 101.
Yeah, I still have footage on CD that we had when the service went down with Katrina, and just the stuff that we couldn't put online to actually see bloated people and alligators on side of the streets and just putting dogs down, man, because they done got rabies and it's humid. It's just a lot of crazy stuff, man.
Animal control, that's going to be a big thing. I mean, wild packs of animals. How do
these
handle
dogs are like 12 deep, man. I mean, they ain't like 4 or 5, you know, you spend. These are like 12 dogs, you know, in these mugs. You got 2 or 3 out of the pack that got rabies and all kinds of stuff. You know, you don't know if the whole pack does.
Yeah. And getting bit by one of them.
Yeah. And then you see people, but they bring it in, they have to amputate them because they've been walking in sewage for so long, trying to get point A to point B. You know, it felt like a third world country, you know, being down there. So
New Orleans.
That makes me psyche when you see stuff like that.
And the sad thing about Katrina was they had everybody there, right? Had a good at least a 3-day notice what was coming. And they weren't lying. They were telling everybody it was going to be a big one. And there was probably 5 days, to be honest with you. And people didn't leave. I mean, it's like, if I lived in California, I'm not scared of an earthquake. But if they told me, hey, 101, we're going to have a big old earthquake, 8.9 in your area next week at 4:02 p.m. on a Tuesday, I think I'm going to go out of town. And I'm not going to hang around for it.
Why do you think I'm in Texas? That's why I'm in Texas, for real.
With the amount of information we get every day, though, really think about that, though, Prepper One. I'm not saying you individually won't, but the normal average person, we get constant information. constant, that there's meteors, that this, Biden's doing this, Trump doing that, they're doing that, chemical over here. There's, there's just constant information. That's the type of stuff that gets, it's that cognitive dissonance. Like, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not worried about it, is basically what I mean, because you're seeing so many catastrophic things right now because we have so many media outlet sources, whether it's individuals like us telling people or the mainstream. So it's like, you have to, in your mind, you have to sift through, okay, is this real or not? And this has never happened here before. Like the Great Earthquake, you would think I wouldn't live in the Pacific Northwest, because that subduction zone, it's going to go off. I mean, it's going off, and all the volcanoes in the Ring of Fire right now, they're going off right now. And you would think, I'd get my tail out of here, but it's that cognitive dissonance. Like, man, 41 years I've been here, it ain't never happened. I don't think that's a necessity, but it could happen tomorrow.
And you're right, Ghetto, because you got people, man, that's been living for 20 years in that town, and they use the bus or the rail system. You know what I'm saying? In cities, people don't have vehicles. And they work on transportation. You got drivers that drive, and BART and all these rail systems that people work and go to and from. So, when something hits, it shuts that down.
In New York,
some of those people wanted to leave, especially in New Orleans. A lot of people didn't have a way to get out of the city.
Yeah, they couldn't.
They were, you talk about economic disenfranchisement. That's a thing. When you are at the low end of the economic spectrum, you don't have those options. You can't just get in a car and drive. You don't even have a car. You're public transportation. You don't have anywhere to go. You're dealing with a lot of unknowns that financially, a lot of us don't have to worry about. Okay, I can pay for a hotel, or I can do this, or I know there's an agency there. You didn't have anywhere to go, so you saw people piled up in the dome. You saw people staying in their house in the different wards. And so a lot of that is due to the economic disenfranchisement. They didn't have the opportunity to leave, and those are a lot of people that ended up suffering and just being kind of left behind. So we have to take that into account as well. Some of us aren't as fortunate as others to be able to have options to get out of those situations. So you're kind of stuck. I think about all the people in LA. Some of those people are just going to die just because they couldn't afford to get out or didn't have places where they can go to. They're just, acceptable losses.
And to the system, that's what it is. It's the pre-planned stuff. Sorry if I cut anybody off, but they made them dependent on the system. The same thing the welfare program did. That's why we have the actual ghettos, is because we have to be dependent on the system to be able to be self-reliant. That's bullshit. Excuse my language, Ben, but I mean, that's just garbage. It's like ingrained into us. It took me a very long time to get out of where I was from. And then finally I get to the middle class, and y'all done just tore it all up, man. That pisses me off. That pisses me off. But at the same time, I've only been here for like 5 years, 4 years, man. Come on. But at the same time, it was like there were so many hurdles just to get out of the system, get out of the welfare program. I wasn't allowed to save up money. I had to throw the stuff in the safe. I had to do it in a hustler type of way to be able to get my family somewhere else. My point is that they want those shackles upon you so you can't leave when there's a natural disaster or man-made disaster. And I do believe that's where our government's going. And it don't matter what side of the freaking bird it is, both wings, one bird. They're both they're both pushing us towards that UBI, that universal, income for everybody, where you got to depend on this. They gave everybody the taste of it when it came to unemployment, sitting your ass at home, kicking it with your family, getting free money. You know what I mean? Like they're pushing it real hard these days. Last couple 2-3 years. That's why we're here talking right now. Probably
see that.
We're trying to come together and push back against that system. So we don't need a bus when there's a problem happening. We already got a car ready to go, or electric bikes, or whatever it is to get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah.
It's you have to cognitively decouple from that system and realize where you are before you can make a change. And a lot of people just are going with the hype. They're haven't gone. Prepper was talking about getting to that 50,000 foot level to take a look at this thing and say Democrat, Republican, left, right. We're playing both sides against the middle for a small number of people to profit from that and maintain control and power. So they have to maintain that control and power by doing these different things, keeping us distracted, keeping us separated, making us dependent on the system, living in cities where they can just shut down the city and lock you up for months.
Yeah,
that benefits.
You got to look at the way they've and it's not just America. They got the world divided. The way they got us all divided and hating each other on our color, our race, our sex, our religion, our jobs, our income, where we live, our sports, right? I mean, they got us divided on everything. You know what I mean? And once they do that, they can do all the smoke and mirror stuff on us, and then the behind the scenes they're decimated.
So,
I love my country. I don't like my government, but I think that we've fallen. We just haven't been told about it. You know what I mean? It's been said a million times. The frog in the pot of water. You know, we're at a low boil.
Yeah,
we're at a low boil, and there's nowhere to go.
In 100 years, we're going to look back and we're going to see when it actually. Hey, that was back there. Was when it actually fell apart. You know.
I don't see a full-on shift I take that back. We're already in shift, and we're already in WROL. We're already here. I mean, look at California. You can break the law and you can get away with it. I mean, there's
as long as it's below $1,000, you're cool.
Yeah, it's I see us to be totally 100% honest. We're not going to be at a war. We can own all the guns and stuff we want, but I don't see us having that defensive stature that we all think we're going to have. I think, and I use Venezuela as the proving ground for that. We're going to end up being just like Venezuela. They fell without a shot. They're living on their knees, and they already know how to do this, right? And in 2011, Venezuela was a first world country. What was it? 7 years later, they were eating the dogs. They were eating animals in the zoo, right? We're not above that.
Oh, no. That's where I tell a lot of people that I deal with. I've never been a person to look at the government to bail me out. And my mom was 20 years military.
Yeah.
20 years military, my mom. So I kind of knew what the government was about anyway, with my mom being 20 years in the military. And then when I tell people that, a lot of people around me, that I'm going to go get her, that I'm not waiting on nobody to give me anything.
Yeah.
They look at me crazy. I know somebody that I know, my wife's friend mother, been on welfare since I known my wife. And she's had 10 kids and she's still depending on the government to take care of her. I said, you got to get out that mindset.
Oh yeah, you got to survive.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you got to get out that mindset.
And the kids.
I think that's why we're here too, man.
And the kids learn that too, right? So I'm using me right now. I learned what to do because I watched my dad get up in the morning, put on work boots, and go to work. That's the mentality that I have. I get up in the morning, I put on work boots, and I go to work. Anybody on welfare, you watch your single mom get up and go into the kitchen, and that's what you learn, right? They systematically destroyed a family core system, right? They know how to defeat us, right? They know how to break us down. Like I was telling Ghetto a few weeks ago, that they can, once you break the family core up, once they get me to where I don't care about my kid or my wife or who gives a shit, right? Yeah. I don't have no fight with them, man. I'm weak. You know what I mean? What if I don't have a God or family to fight for? What do I have to fight for? Man,
exactly.
I'm easy to defeat. And so welfare.
You're already defeated.
Yeah. But you look at the welfare system, right?
This has been a good topic, man. Great. And we're gonna hit it up next Saturday, Survival Saturday.
Let's bring it together, people.
All y'all
through.
Yeah. And thank
appreciate you having me, Ben.
Purple 101, Ghetto, Skillionaire, BP,
yes, sir.
Carbon Q, Real Deal.
Everybody in the chat, thank you. This discussion is important. We gotta, keep relating to one another. I love what Prepper 101 says. This divisiveness is not accidental. We got to work together. We got to get past these petty differences, this, that, and the other. Come together on the positive things. Work together, and be stronger.
And that's kind of this conversation is not what they want.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Check out tomorrow. I will be having Real Deal on. Of course, we're gonna talk a little prepping with him, but it's to get to know him because he's just now starting his YouTube channel. So come up there tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Check us out. We're gonna definitely be chopping it up, and I'm quite sure we're gonna bring up some prepping stuff as well. So if you want to come by, check me in Real Deal.
Oh, yeah. We can take that over there to tomorrow and finish up. Yeah. That'll be great, man. Thank y'all so
Love
much.
y'all, Prepper Ghetto. Y'all be good.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Y'all peace.
All right.
Thank you once again, y'all.
All right, everybody.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Thank you.